Let's look at the last example. This is the wireframe for the last example. What we want to do is we want to create a new component called not logged in component, and when the user tries to reach the home component using this link over here, we should check if the user is logged in or not, and if the user is not logged in, we need to redirect the user to the /not-logged-in URL, and we need to render the not logged in component. Let's discuss that one more time. If the user is not logged in and if the user clicks on the home link, then we want to redirect the user to /not-logged-in, and we want to render the not logged in component. So let's do that. So I'm going to add a new file called notloggedin.js. That is going to be a function component. So I'm going to type function not logged in, and it has to return some JSX. So let me write the return statement, and let me add a root div, and I'll specify some text over here as you are not logged in, please log in. You are not logged in, please log in. Let me export that component. Export default not logged in. And within home.js, what we want to do is, depending on whether the user is logged in or not, we want to either render the home component or we want to redirect the user to the not logged in URL, which will then load the not logged in component. I'm going to use a variable to indicate if the user is logged in or not. So I'm going to type is user logged in equals false. So I'm going to hard code this value for now, just for the sake of this example. So let's assume that the user is not logged in, and if the user is not logged in, what we want to do is we want to redirect the user to the URL /not-logged-in. So let's do that. So if the user is not logged in, we want to redirect to /not-logged, and if the user is logged in, we want to render a previous content. So here we have used a new component called redirect, and we have specified the URL which we want to redirect using the toProp over here. So if the user is not logged in, this redirect component will make sure that the redirection happens to the URL /not-logged-in. By the way, this time VS Code has automatically added the import statement for me. What is remaining is we have to specify a corresponding route for this URL now. So let's go to app.js and add a route for /not-logged-in. So in app.js, let's add a route, and let's specify the path as /not-logged-in. So let's copy that and paste that over here. The component that we want to render is not logged in component, and let's close the tag over here. So what we have done here is we have added a route for the path not-logged-in, and when the path matches this not-logged-in, we want to render the component not logged in. Let's check if VS Code has added an import statement for not logged in or not. Let me scroll up over here, and we can see that VS Code has added an import statement for me automatically. So now let us take a look at the output. So I'm going to click on the home component now, and you can see that we are being redirected to /not-logged-in, and we are also seeing the content for the not logged in component. Let me click on users now, and let me go back to the home component, and so it's working as expected. Let me change is user logged in to true over here now. So I have changed that value to true, and I'm going to save the file now, and let's take a look at the output. Since user logged in is true now, the result of this expression over here will be this expression over here. So let's look at the output now. Let's click on home, and you can see that we are able to reach the root URL. We are also seeing that the home nav link has been highlighted, and we are also seeing the content of the home component. By the way, I noticed that the import statement that VS Code directly added for me specified React-router, but that should actually be React router DOM. Let us examine this example one more time. When we want to perform a redirect within the return statement of our function component, we can use the redirect component that React router DOM gives us. And if we want to perform a redirect within an event handler, we can use the use history React hook that React router DOM gives us. So if we come back to our initial starting point where we discussed about what routing is, we discussed that when we have a request to a particular URL, if we have routing, we will usually have a mapping as a set of routes, and that mapping will be used That means those routes will be used to determine which code needs to be executed. So when we do client-side routing with React Router, what that translates to is a request to a URL is mapped via a set of routes to determine which component needs to be rendered. And we are going through all that effort because URLs are powerful. Users can type URLs into browser address bar. Users can share URLs and click on shared URLs. Users can look at URLs and figure out where they are in the website. So having different URLs in the website is an essential need for any web application. And React Router allows us to have URLs and client-side routing. And it does this by giving us a collection of navigational components that compose declaratively within our applications. You can find more information about React Router at reactrouter.com, and if you go to the web section over here, you can find more information about React Router DOM.